We live in a world that sells us the idea of effortless love. The movies, the algorithms, the endless scroll of perfect couples on Instagram. They all tell us that if it's the right relationship, the spark just stays lit. But here's the hard truth. The brain isn't wired for permanent fireworks. It's wired for habituation. It's wired to get used to things. And when you combine that biological reality with the modern world, where we are constantly distracted, constantly comfortable, and constantly staring at screens instead of each other, that spark doesn't just fade, it gets smothered. Welcome to Hard Truths for a Soft World. I'm your host, Trevor L Taylor. This is the show where we dig into how technology, comfort, and modern relationship habits are quietly reshaping our brains, our grit, and our love lives, and exactly what we need to do about it. Today is episode 9, When the Spark Fades, Rebuilding Attraction After Distance and Resentment. We're talking about that terrifying moment when you look at the person you love, the person you've built a life with, and realize you don't feel that pull anymore. The chemistry is flat, the distance feels vast, and maybe, just maybe, there's a layer of quiet resentment sitting between you like a brick wall. What do you do when you still love each other, but you don't desire each other? Stick around, because we're going to break down the neuroscience of why this happens, the psychology of resentment, and the exact research-backed steps to rebuild polarity, curiosity, and attraction. Let's start with the brain, because if you don't understand the neurochemistry of your relationship, you're going to blame yourself or your partner for something that is entirely natural. When you first meet someone and fall in love, your brain is essentially on drugs. You are flooded with dopamine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. Your serotonin levels actually drop, which is why you obsess over them. You can't eat, you can't sleep, you just want to be around them. But studies show that this intense chemical cocktail of romantic chemistry fades after about 18 months. Why? Because of a psychological concept called habituation. Your brain is built to habituate to predictable, repetitive rewards. If you stayed in that high stress, high reward state of early love forever, you'd never get anything done. You'd never build a life. So the brain shifts gears. The dopamine drops and the attachment chemicals, oxytocin and vasopressin, take over. You trade the roller coaster for a comfortable couch. And this is where the modern world sets a trap for us. We love comfort, we crave it. But as the brilliant psychotherapist Esther Perel points out, the very things that make a long-term relationship feel safe and secure, predictability, familiarity, routine, are the exact things that kill eroticism and desire. Desire needs mystery. It needs a little bit of distance. It needs polarity. But before we can even talk about rebuilding desire and polarity, we have to address the elephant in the room. The brick wall I mentioned earlier. Resentment. You cannot rebuild attraction if you are quietly furious with your partner. Dr. John Gottman, one of the leading relationship researchers in the world, spent 40 years studying what makes couples succeed or fail. He identified what he calls the 4 horsemen of relationship apocalypse: criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, and the deadliest of all, contempt. Contempt is the number one predictor of divorce. It's when you look down on your partner. It's the eye roll, the sarcasm, the feeling of superiority. And how does contempt build? It builds through missed connections. Gottman talks about bids for connection. A bid is any attempt from one partner to another for attention, affirmation, affection, or any other positive connection. It could be as simple as saying, "Hey, look at this funny meme," or "Wow, what a beautiful sunset." In his research, Gottman found that couples who stayed together turned toward these bids 86% of the time. Couples who eventually divorced, they only turned toward each other 33% of the time. When your bids are constantly ignored, your brain keeps a subconscious tally. You feel rejected, you feel unseen, and that rejection ferments into frustration, which curdles into resentment, which hardens into contempt. And let me tell you what is accelerating this process faster than anything else in human history: the smartphone. We are living in the era of phubbing, phone snubbing. Recent studies show that about 40% of Americans in romantic relationships are bothered by the amount of time their partner spends on their phone. When you try to make a bid for connection and your partner doesn't even look up from TikTok or their email, that is a micro rejection, and it creates a vicious cycle. You get phubbed, you feel rejected, so what do? You pull out your own phone to self-soothe. Now you have two people sitting on a couch, inches apart, completely isolated in their own digital silos. Technology is hijacking the attention that belongs to your relationship. It is stealing the micro moments of connection that keep resentment at bay. So, how do we fix this? How do we tear down the wall of resentment and reignite the spark? It happens in 3 phases. Phase 1, the repair and forgiveness. You have to clear the air. And forgiveness, according to psychological research, is not a single event. It is a process. It requires what Gottman calls repair attempts. A repair attempt is any statement or action, silly or serious, that prevents negativity from escalating out of control. It's saying, "I'm sorry, I was looking at my phone. Can you say that again?" Or, "I'm feeling really flooded right now. I need a 20-minute break before we finish this conversation." You have to start turning toward the bids. Put the phone in another room during dinner. When they speak, look them in the eye. Rebuild the baseline of trust and attention. Phase 2, rebuilding polarity. Once the resentment is cleared, you have to address the flat line of attraction. Attraction requires polarity, the magnetic pull between masculine and feminine energies. I'm not talking about traditional gender roles. I'm talking about energetic dynamics. When couples get too comfortable, they often merge into a neutral, roommate-like energy. You become co-managers of a household. You're just coordinating schedules and paying bills. To restore polarity, you have to reconnect with your core energy, and you have to allow your partner to do the same. You have to stop managing them. You have to create space. Remember what Esther Perel says: fire needs air. Desire needs space. If you are constantly on top of each other, constantly texting throughout the day, constantly in each other's business, there is no space for mystery. There is no space to wonder about them. Give each other the gift of missing each other. Cultivate your own passions, your own friends, your own life outside the relationship. When you come back together, you bring new energy into the dynamic. Phase 3, the power of novelty and curiosity. This is the secret weapon. In psychology, there is a concept called the self-expansion model, developed by researcher Arthur Aaron. The theory is simple. We have a fundamental human motivation to expand our sense of self. When we first meet someone, we expand rapidly by learning all about them. It's thrilling, but eventually you know all their stories. You know how they chew their food. The expansion stops. To reignite desire, you have to introduce novelty. You cannot do the same things you've done for 5 years and expect a different chemical reaction in your brain. You have to do new, challenging, slightly uncomfortable things together. Take a class neither of you knows anything about. Travel somewhere where you don't speak the language. Go rock climbing. Do something that forces you to see your partner in a new light. outside the context of your living room. When you see your partner navigating a new environment, it breaks the habituation. It reminds your brain, oh right, I don't know everything about this person. They are still a mystery. Curiosity is the ultimate antidote to relational boredom. The spark doesn't just magically stay alive. It's not a campfire that burns forever on its own. It's an engine. And engines require maintenance, fuel, and intentional operation. If you're feeling the distance right now, don't panic. It doesn't mean the relationship is broken. It means the relationship is asking you to evolve. Put the phone down, turn toward the bid, clear the resentment, create some space, and go do something new together. That's how you beat the soft world. That's how you build a love that actually lasts. I'm Trevor L Taylor. Thank you for listening to Hard Truths for a Soft World. If this episode hit home for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay gritty, stay curious, and keep doing the hard work.